Welcome, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the Three Man Rush podcast. If you are joining us live here on YouTube or live here on Twitter, that's right, we are also live on Twitter. What's up? Thanks for joining us. And if you're watching this at a later date, we also want to give you a shout out as well. So, that being said, we got a special episode today. I'm your host, Landon Oliver, here with my two co-hosts, Andrew Scott and Big Jared Holly. What is up, fellas?
What's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
Doing good, man. Just getting excited, watching some preseason football tonight. Looking for some advantages, looking for some scouting. Doing some stuff. But
watch my boy Trey Lance for a little bit today, man. I mean, it wasn't nothing exciting.
Didn't look that
good. No, did not. Good. Surprise! The guy that didn't play his last season of college ball didn't play but like 2 games last year. Looks a little rusty, so nobody could have saw that one coming.
Yeah, Jordan Love looked good tonight, though. Davis Mills actually looked good. Weirdly, actually, I don't mind Davis Mills. I think he's better than what people think he is. But
agree that.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, if you are joining us here, like I said, we do want to give you a shout out. Go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button down there. You can be notified whenever we drop new content. And if you're on Twitter here following us, go ahead, give us a follow on Twitter at 3 Man Rush Podcast. Normally if you're seeing this, you probably already follow us, but definitely retweet, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We appreciate it. And like I said earlier, today we are going to be doing a mock draft for our 3 Man Rush podcast that we're drafting on Saturday night. This is literally just like a standard draft we have with some listeners and some friends and stuff like that. It is a 12-team draft where we have just one quarterback, half-point PPR, like no tight end premium. I think quarterback touchdowns are only 4 points per passing touchdown. It's literally the most basic-ass league you can possibly create.
The only thing we could do to make it more simple is change it from half-point to just like regular standard scoring. That's it. That's all we're missing.
Yeah, and even then, like at that point, I'd have to put my foot down because I'm like, even with this league, I'm like, tight end premium, like anything, like can we get anything? But no, I mean, we've got all of our crazy dynasty IDP leagues, super flexes, tight end premiums. Like I have all kinds of crazy leagues this year. So it is kind of nice to have a little bit of a throwback league just for some listeners and us. So it's going to be fun. So we have us 3 drafting here in this mock draft, along with 2 other guys. And if you are in the draft, if you want to hop in with us, just leave a message, shoot Drew a sleeper message, and he'll be able to get you in as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But we do want to pull this up here now. We want to go ahead, get this draft pulled up. That way we can see what we're working with. You guys can kind of get a layout of where we're drafting from. And maybe this helps you. Like, this would be more of a draft that would take place in like your home leagues, with family or friends that maybe they're not, super into football. They just draft for fun and they play fantasy for fun. And this would be a really good like board to kind of follow to see how that's going to go. So as you see up there, Big Jared is going to be picking from the 2 spot. I'm picking from 4. Our friend Jay, who has been on the show, is picking from 5 right after me. Drew is picking from 8, and our buddy Curtis is picking from 9. All the other spots will probably be auto drafted unless somebody wants to just hop in here. Like I said, if you're in the league and you want to hop in and mock draft with us, just let Drew know through Sleeper. And
these are all guys that are in this league with us, and this is the spot they're drafting from on Saturday night. Yeah. So this will be a fun little small preview of how Saturday night's draft's going to go. Now you throw in 7 other people that will be drafting instead of
I'm sure
7 auto draft spots.
Yeah, well, that I'm sure too. People are more willing to take chances in this because it's not real, as opposed to whenever it's real and you see, you see certain guys on the board still there that you normally wouldn't see. So I mean, this is more kind of like for fun. But that being said, like I said, we're gonna make this interesting. We're gonna draft.
We're about to make this really interesting.
Jared.
Jared's got a hot take at the 102.
Yeah, Jared's got the 2 picks. So Cooper Kupp going 2nd overall here.
Well, let's see. You guys ready to get started?
Yeah, let's roll.
Ready to get started?
Right, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So CMC off the board right off the rip.
McCaffrey.
Oh, wow.
Big Jared. Austin
Okay.
Eckler, Derrick Henry.
I don't hate that. I don't hate Eckler. I would have expected
I
JT
don't
to
hate
go in the
Eckler.
first 3 picks, but I don't hate the Eckler pick at all.
No.
He looks like
I was really upset because I was really hoping Landon would have landed on Derrick Henry here and
I
had to
wouldn't
choose
have.
between Derrick Henry or a wide receiver.
I would have picked a wide receiver.
I figured.
But I mean, yeah, this will make it a little bit easier for me.
Oh, Naeem Hines season in question.
Yeah, I'm taking him 4th overall, not first.
Okay, let me take a minute to take all this in. So CMC
running back,
started off
running back.
Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, Landon's bust pick Jonathan Taylor, who, to be fair, he said was a bust if you had to take him 101. He took him 104. So I had to,
not
I
a
had to
bust.
throw that in there.
Not a bust as the 4th running back off the board.
I had to throw that in there though. Justin Jefferson, first receiver off the board at the 105. Dalvin Cook at the 106, and Najee Harris at the 107. So that puts me on the clock, and this one is not very difficult for me. Surprise. No, not if there was one other guy off the board, it would have been Jamar Chase, but that one guy was not off the board. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab him here. Yeah, and that is Cooper Kupp. I'll be thrilled if I can get him at the 108.
Quarterback?
Who's our backup quarterback? John Wolford.
Yeah. Hopefully John Wolford's good this year for Kupp.
Y'all really worried about the toughest man in football having a sore arm, man. He's going to be just fine. That dude had like his whole arm fall out of place and still threw a game-winning touchdown. Jamar Chase did go not long after me, followed by Devontae Adams, Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, and Aaron Jones at the turn. Travis Kelce, DeAndre Swift, and Nick Chubb. Okay. So I'm interested to think what you guys I want to know what you guys think about Nick Chubb. With it being
half point PPR, I like Nick
I
Chubb.
can't get in on it.
I like
Kareem Hunt's still on the team too, and Dearness Johnson too, man. Like if
we throw the chat up here. There we go.
Hunt goes down even or somehow finds a way out of that organization.
Yeah, but even if he doesn't, I mean, you're looking at you're getting a top 10 running back regardless with Chubb. You're getting probably the 3rd best running back in football overall, not necessarily for fantasy purposes, on a team that is not going to have their starting quarterback. They're not going to have their starting quarterback for 12 weeks. So how are they going to win the game? They're going to have to run the ball. That's their only avenue to win the game.
I do like Njoku though. He said David Njoku. I do like Njoku.
Pick him too, Jared. 2nd round. Let's see what you get.
I want to reach for Njoku. This pick coming up here in a minute.
So I'm thinking a couple different ways here. Part of me wants there's another wide receiver I really like sitting there, but I'm always too scared to start off wide receiver, especially whenever this is my long wait. If it was a little bit of a shorter turn, like if I was closer to the front of the draft and I like in Jay's position, if I would have taken Justin Jefferson, and then this guy was still sitting there at the 208, I might take CeeDee Lamb here, but with the long wait that I have, I'm going to have to go with the running back that I'm just in love with this year. I think the bounce back is for real. And I think Saquon Barkley is going to remind people how good of a running back he is. And it's just the competition behind him is pretty much non-existent. Like I don't see anybody taking carries or targets from him. And and just look at the other pass catchers on the team. Like Galladay looks awful. Kadarius Toney's hurt. Sterling Shepard just now got activated. Wan'Dale Robinson's a rookie.
You got Big Daniel Bellinger ready to take over there.
Yeah, I all seriousness, I do like Bellinger, but rookie tight ends not named Kyle Pitts typically.
More for dynasty, not necessarily
right.
For this
exactly. League. So redraft, like rookie tight ends typically don't make much of a fantasy impact. And so I think Saquon is the best player on that offense, and I think he's going to get all the touches he can handle, and his injuries aren't really anything that's like there's not a pattern with these injuries. It was just a couple really weird fluke injuries,
Oh,
and I'm not going to bet on injuries. Okay, all right. So while I was talking, hang on. While I was talking, Alvin Kamara came off after Saquon, and then CeeDee Lamb. Jay took Mark Andrews, and then Landon took Kyle Pitts at the 209, which I'm not.
What
I mean, it's a little
did I
early
say? Kyle Pitts would end tight end 1?
tight end 1. Yeah. So I mean, if you're right,
Yeah, who's the guy that went before him?
This is a value for Landon here. If you're right.
Yeah, who's the guy that went before him?
So I mean, third
Mark Andrews.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah.
Well, actually, Travis Kelce went before all of them.
Yeah. Travis Kelce went off at the 202, and then Tyreek Hill went off after.
Yeah.
Landon's
So my thinking here too.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it, man, because I mean, I love Pitts.
Right, and so actually, that's basically like I'm also like I do like Kyle Pitts, and I wanted really this is just about me. Like I wanted one share of him. And I think this is the only way I'm going to ever get that share because I'm not willing to pay what it would cost in dynasty leagues to get him.
Yeah, he's so expensive in a dynasty league.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous. So, like, this is basically, like I said, this league is like a bunch of fun for listeners. And like, yeah, like we play for a little like championship ring and stuff like that. So, I mean, there is something on the line and there is bragging rights, but this is a chance for me to get players that I'm not going to have in any of my other leagues. Like I'm not going to have Jonathan Taylor because I'm not paying that price. I'm not going to have Kyle Pitts because I'm not paying that price.
Right.
So like, this is just kind of like getting some guys that I like to watch on Sundays that I'll get to watch and root for.
And just in case you guys are curious, like Landon said, we do have something to play for.
This isn't just for like fun.
We do have a nice, beautiful championship ring. If you're curious of what they look like, it looks like you probably can't see it too well with the webcam screen, but that's a little something what it looks like because your boy did win the league during its inaugural season last year, so I got me a nice little pretty championship ring here to show off for it.
Oh, you mean the guy that manages the league won the league? How crazy!
Hey, what can you do, man? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That's what I always say. All right, so we got a couple back-to-back picks here from Jared that I'd like to get his thoughts on. So Tyreek went off the board. You had Mike Evans at the 211, and then computer number 1 took Deebo Samuel and Josh Allen at the turn, and then Javonte Williams at the 3-2 for Jared. So, Jared, why don't you tell us a little bit about what your thought process there was grabbing those two guys?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, Mike Evans is not going to slow down as long as Tom Brady's throwing him the ball, and they're still going to want to throw the ball. I think he's their number 1 wide receiver. Even if Godwin's out there week 1, he's not 100%. I don't see it happening. I'm not intimidated by Russell Gage. A little worried about Leonard Fournette with all things coming out of camp. So, yeah, Mike Evans is a touchdown machine, man, and he should get more targets.
And he's going to go for 1,000 yards. That much we can guarantee. That's all that dude does is go for 1,000 yards.
Well, so here's the thing, though, and as a former Mike Evans owner, this is the only issue I have with Mike Evans in fantasy is that he is a fantastic real-life wide receiver, but he's going to have at the end of the year, so if you look at season-long leagues, you're looking at a guy that's like, oh, yeah, he's borderline, wide receiver 1, top 12 wide receiver total, but then you look at his weekly output, and that's what scares me from Mike Evans is because you'll have the 1 week where he's got 180 yards and 3 touchdowns and he puts up 40 points. And then the very next 2 or 3 weeks, he's scoring 7, 3, 10.
He does have that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just the consistency there. For him, I don't he would be perfect as a wide receiver 2 or a flex, boom bust play to me. I can't count on him as a wide receiver 1 to deliver every week. And if
there's very few wide receiver 1s that deliver every week, though, in my personal opinion. I know Stephon Diggs went in the first round. He had last year, he had a lot of weeks where he struggled. To me, if you're getting somebody the upside of if you're getting the upside of Mike Evans with a condensed wide receiving core, because I don't think Godwin plays week 1. I just don't. I think he's going to miss quite a few games. and Brady's going to throw the ball quite a bit. So,
yeah.
But at the end of the day, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
He's going to have bad weeks, but the
And
weeks
I mean,
he goes off,
you can stabilize a Mike Evans roster as the draft goes. You can find some safer, consistent wide receiver twos, things like
yeah,
that.
because I mean, he's gonna, like I get, like, because Mike Evans, he's gonna have weeks where he wins you, the week, because he's gonna score 45. But it's just like I guess, like whenever I'm picking
you want floor
early like this, like I would rather take my boom bust guys later and get my guys that I know I've got a safe floor with.
Mike Evans more booms than busts, though, in my opinion.
Right.
It's very interesting to me. I want to get Jared's thoughts on his next pick before we get to that. But it's very interesting to me because I feel like you took a very Mike Evans-ish receiver just like 5 picks later. So I
also too, by the way,
skip over the Javonte Williams pick. So I want to get Jared's thoughts on Javonte Williams because he's a very interesting fantasy asset for redraft. So Jared, what's your feelings on how you see that backfield breaking down? It was basically split down the middle with Melvin Gordon last year.
Yeah, I think the talent with the ability to catch in the backfield is Javonte Williams to me, and Russell Wilson's an upgrade. I feel like a lot of those games, like in that division, are going to be super close and competitive, and they're going to utilize the backs more in the passing game. And Melvin Gordon's not really on the same level as Javonte Williams as far as a pass catching back. So I think overall this year he'll out snap Melvin Gordon, and just the upside on him alone it's totally worth a 3rd round pick.
Yeah. I mean, if it even goes to a 70-30 split, which is it's a heavy split, but if it goes 65-35, 70-30, Javonte Williams in the 3rd round is a league winner at that point. Like with the upgrade in the offense, if he can take a larger share of that backfield, or if God forbid something happens to Melvin, like Javonte's going to explode. So I
still think Melvin Gordon has a chance to be really good in fantasy too.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best late round values this year. And then
Herbert
right after you grabbed him, speaking of Herbert, Keenan Allen went at the 303, and then Landon. I love the pick, but I'm interested just hearing your thoughts on Mike Evans. I'm really interested to hear your feelings on AJ Brown.
Well, he's another guy that I've never owned, I've never had a share of, and that I like watching on Sundays. So, like, the way I'm approaching this also, like, I hate to be this way because it is like a mock draft and like we're doing this live and like it's fun and stuff, but I don't want to give away my actual draft strategy before the draft.
Right.
So I'm literally like the way that this is going for me, there's a very good shot none of these 3 players I have are actually on my team.
Okay, that's interesting.
So basically, this is me just being like, hey, I have had Jonathan Taylor before, and I like sold him for like a haul in Dynasty. But I'm like, I'll never have Kyle Pitts except in a redraft league. And even if I do, I'm not reaching for him in the 2nd round, like if I'm being honest. And then I've never had AJ Brown. So I just wanted.
I think
basically like what I'm doing. Like I'm just picking guys that like I've never owned that I think would be fun to watch on Sundays. But I'm not revealing. Yeah, like I'm not really per se like drafting what my actual roster is probably going to look like whenever we draft here on Saturday night. Just because I know, whether it's you guys, because I'm playing with y'all, I know Jay's on here, I know Curtis is on here, I know Quentin's actually watching this right now. He's messaging me about the picks. And like I don't want to give away.
Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're drafting with us on Saturday night and you're watching this, I'm absolutely drafting the same guys I'm going to be targeting on Saturday night.
I was saying,
if you want to try to snipe me here, I'm giving you the manual because
This is the recipe right here.
There's other guys I like in the areas I'm taking these guys, so I don't really care.
But so like for me, for example, so I know this was basically almost influenced as well by the auto draft. So for me, I'm picking at 4. I don't see any way Jonathan Taylor is going to be there. That's not going to happen.
Sure.
Which at that point, Jared will clearly go Eckler. 1 or 3 will go Taylor. McCaffrey's probably going to go top 3 as well. So at that point, I'm probably staring at Derrick Henry or a wide receiver. At that point, I'm taking Justin Jefferson.
You're not taking Derrick Henry.
No, I'm taking Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
So if Jay's trying to draft what his team is going to look like on Saturday, Justin Jefferson's not going to be there. He might end up with Derrick Henry. But
you never know though.
So and at that point, if I'm taking a wide receiver there, I'm probably taking a running back in round 2.
You're not going to take a tight end in round 2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like my team is like it's not gonna be like this.
Right. Yeah. No, I get that. But
so,
you never know. I think
if Taylor is there at 4,
I don't know what 101's going to do in our league.
Who is 101?
I think it's P-Meds, isn't it? I think it's P-Meds. If it's P-Meds,
he'll probably draft McCaffrey just to have
he's
got McCaffrey in like
every league he's ever been in. Somehow he ends up with McCaffrey, so he'll probably take McCaffrey
because he always ends up with 101.
Yeah, so I don't know what Team 3 is going to do. But
Team 3 will take. Who's Team 3?
I don't know. It might be a Titans fan. You never know. Like it might be Derrick Henry. Like you really might have a shot at JT. Like you might have a shot at JT or CMC 1. Like
I kind of hope Landon has a shot at Jonathan Taylor.
If he's at 4, I'll take him at 4. If he's the 4th running back off the board, then yeah.
All right, so
I'm just not like the whole thing with Jonathan Taylor is like I don't think the workload's going to be what it is last year, and he doesn't have the pass catching upside that guys like McCaffrey and Eckler have. So if I have a choice between Eckler, McCaffrey, or Taylor, I'm taking McCaffrey or Eckler over Jonathan Taylor. But if both of those guys are gone and Jonathan Taylor stared me in the face at 4, at that point, yes. So like my whole thing of like Jonathan Taylor will not end up as 101 is because I think either McCaffrey or Eckler end up at 101. And so like, to me, like those are like, I'm not saying Jonathan Taylor is a bad pick in round 1.
No,
that's stupid. Like obviously,
I'm with you, man. I'm giving you a hard time.
Yeah, so like that's my thing. So yeah, if I have a choice between McCaffrey or Eckler or Taylor, I would rather have those other 2 guys just because of their like the pass catching ability that they have that Taylor does not give you. But if both of those guys are gone and JT's there at 104, yeah, I'll be okay.
Yeah, pull the trigger on Mike Williams. I like it.
I don't know why he's still there in the 4th round. I really don't. So Landon took AJ Brown at the 304. Leonard Fournette went to Jay at the 305, which I think is a great value at that point.
Oh shit! Big James is picking 3.
Oh, so Henry could very well go 103 because
he'll take Taylor just to fuck with me.
He might.
That'll happen. If Taylor doesn't go 1.
T. Higgins went at the 306, Cam Akers at the 307, and then I took Michael Pittman at the 308. I love Michael Pittman this year. I'm a humongous fan of his fantasy upside. I mean, on average, Matt Ryan typically gives about 160-ish targets to his wide receiver 1, and Michael.
And if Camp is any indication of that, take the over on 160 targets.
Yeah, Michael Pittman only needed like 125, 130 targets to break out last year. So you give him an extra 30, 40 targets on top of that, and the quality of targets.
Better targets.
They're going to be coming from Matt Ryan instead of Carson Wentz. Like I love Mike. I think he's a wide receiver 1 this year. I think he's a top 12 wide receiver. So to get that in the 3rd round, I love that. Turnbull grabbed his boy Herbert. I know he's a big Herbert fan. He got Herbert at the 309. Then James Conner, Patrick Mahomes, and Zeke rounded out the 3rd round. And then DJ Moore was the 401. David Montgomery at the 402. ETN at the 403. I really wanted ETN to make his way back to me, but it didn't happen. J.K. Dobbins at the 404. And then Mike Williams, I took him at the 405. I know this is technically above his ADP, but I just don't understand Mike Williams' ADP. I don't get it. I mean, tell me what the difference between Mike Williams' situation and T. Higgins' situation right now.
There's no difference.
I don't really think there is one.
T. Higgins went at the 306, Mike Williams at the 405. They're both paired with great quarterbacks. They're both, the 1B. Like I don't even want to say 1 and 2. Like, and this isn't a knock on Higgins. I love Higgins and I love where he went. Like I would happily take Higgins at the 308 if he made it to me. I just don't think Mike Williams should be making it to the middle of the 4th round, and he would have went even later than this if I didn't take him just based on ADP. But I think Mike Williams has as good of a chance as anybody to be a top 12 wide receiver this year. So in my eyes, the way I have things projected, I've got three of the top 12 wide receivers on my team right now. So if things work out how I have them projected, I'm going to be a happy man. But that's just how I see things playing out. Terry McLaurin at the 406, Darren Waller at the 407, Jay took Breece Hall at the 408, and then Landon got Cortland Sutton at the 409, which I love. I think that's a great pick.
Yeah.
And then George Kittle at the 410.
Yeah. Well, really.
I think it's about right. Late 4th, early 5th, I think is good for Kittle. I think he's going to be the safety blanket for Lance this year. Jalen Waddle at the 411, Antonio Gibson at the 412, and that's just because of the computer ADP. Like he shouldn't be sliding as bad as he is, but he is sliding right now.
Antonio Gibson?
Because of everything going on in camp with Brian Robinson supposed to be taking over Antonio Gibson's fumble issues, and then now people are freaking out because Antonio Gibson is on the kickoff return team in camp. Just a lot of freaking out. Something that makes me really sad is Lamar Jackson going at the 502, because I'm typically like wait forever on quarterback type of person, but if I can get Lamar in the 5th, I'm all about it. So
I don't know, man. Just look at, I think normally depending on who's on the board, I would agree. But with this being one, I think people need to remember. So this 4-point passing,
that
4-point passing. Yes, but to an extent, you still have Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Trey Lance. You have all these other rushing quarterbacks still on the board that you can get later and still get that same. You can still
but I know Lamar Jackson
get that same upside.
Yards rushing.
No, it's not. I can't.
You talk about floor. This guy is the ultimate floor.
Lamar's already broke fantasy before.
Yes.
Kyler and Trey Lance have not done that, so you can't say you get that.
Kyler came close. He got hurt.
Maybe you get that same upside, but Lamar's
already.
Well,
I think Jalen Hurts in a league like this. I think you would get the rushing. I think.
You're going to get the rushing, but Lamar's a better passer. He's a better overall.
Yeah, but if you're telling me, I could have Jalen Hurts in round 7. And continue to load up on running backs and wide receivers or a tight end, or I can have Lamar Jackson.
But look at my turn though. That's what I did. I took Jalen Waddle in the 4th, or in the 5th, right? Was it 4th? Yeah, and then turn around and got Lamar Jackson. So I've got 3 guys that potentially are 1,000-yard rushers. Because Lamar Jackson can easily be a 1,000-yard rushing. He's a wide receiver. He's
I mean, he could be. I don't think he is this year. I think there's a reason why he bulked up, and it's to take a lot of the take more punishment. But I think he's going to try to do a better job of not running as much because he knows. Because look, you saw what happened last year. It eventually it catches up with you. It always catches up with you. And
I would make that argument with, we've seen that obviously with Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
When you were talking about him a while ago,
we saw it last year with Lamar.
I don't know. I think
it's not like we don't know.
I'm very happy with Lamar.
I love Lamar Jackson. I love Lamar Jackson.
I'm also
not
very
saying
happy
don't
with Jalen
pick
Hurts
Lamar
in the
Jackson,
7th.
but I'm
I
also like,
I
for
don't have any
me
problem with either of
personally,
those.
yeah, like for me personally, like I'm like Drew. Me and Drew think a lot like this. Is like I'm willing to wait on value at quarterback later. And
Would you take
continue to load
Deontay
up.
Johnson in the 5th round or Lamar Jackson in the 5th round?
I
Would
wouldn't.
you take
Well,
Josh
probably-
Jacobs in the 5th
I
round?
would.
I
would
wouldn't take either of
consider.
those guys, but
I
I
would
would.
consider a couple like Hollywood that Landon.
Hollywood
would,
Brown, I would rather have.
Allen Robinson,
Judy
Jerry
is
Jeudy.
kind of like getting close.
Those guys would make the decision tough, but the reality is, if Lamar Jackson provides you with that game-breaking season similar to he had his MVP year, he's beyond worth that 5th round pick, like way beyond worth it. So it's just a gamble you have to take, and you are taking so much of a gamble whenever you're in a one quarterback league. If you take a quarterback in the first 5-6 rounds,
yeah,
you need them to be you need them to have quarterback one upside, and Lamar has that in the bunches. So if I could if I can get
no, I'm not saying like, and yes, like I would agree with the pick. Like I'm saying, if like Kyler Murray was gone, Jalen Hurts was gone, like if like you saw a run on quarterbacks go in like that 3rd round, and all these rushing quarterbacks start going off the board, and he's there, then like yeah, I'm fucking scooping him up.
It's like, but the reality is, Kyler's not going to go far behind Lamar in most cases, and I would rather have Lamar. If you're making
there's a good chance Jalen Hurts falls right here in the 6th round as well.
Jalen Hurts' ADP has been climbing. It's the closer we get to draft weekend, like these next couple weekends are like the big draft.
I think for me, like if it was 6-point passing touchdowns, like I might look at the quarterback position a little differently, because like regardless of like whether he's going to run or not, you still need that. You still need the passing production to be there as well. And this league, like it hinders the quarterback position. I mean, like, yeah, you'll get an advantage from rushing quarterbacks, but
a big advantage for fantasy.
Yeah, in 4-point leagues, the rushing quarterbacks are just that much more.
I mean, yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I guess too, like if they're scoring touchdowns, like I mean, they're gonna have to have like Josh Allen, for example. I think like the rushing upside of Josh Allen actually outweighs the 1,000-yard rushing of Lamar, because he's going to be scoring 6 points a lot more than. I mean, yeah, like Lamar might run 60 yards. Josh Allen's going to also get into the end zone. Like
Josh Allen went 2 rounds before Lamar.
Yes.
I mean, other than last year, which we had injuries and stuff like that, Lamar's had 5+ touchdowns in every year he's been a starter, and prior to last year, the 2 years he had 7 rushing touchdowns in back-to-back years. So Lamar is just as good of a bet for rushing touchdowns as Josh Allen is.
Yeah, but I'm also getting 35 to 40 touchdowns as well from like the other end as well. So like they're going to be similar.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He went around like it's
betting
just,
on Lamar.
I don't know.
To have
like I would rather
year.
wait with like how the board is falling. Like just for me, I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I'm just saying like for my strategy, I would rather take a guy like Hollywood Brown.
Oh damn.
Or like AJ Dillon. Like I would rather take a shot on AJ Dillon, because like now you're looking at Elijah Mitchell, Miles Sanders.
Let's talk
or
about
Darrell Patterson.
Let's talk about those picks real quick, because I like both the receivers you grabbed. So talk to me a little bit about Courtland Sutton and Hollywood Brown.
Well, I mean, basically, I just think they're going to be the wide receiver ones on their roster, I think.
So your team. I mean, clearly you took Sutton over Judy. So your team Sutton over Judy as far as like hashing out the Denver backfield or the Denver receiver core.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think Sutton's clearly going to be the one there.
Okay, so I'm on an island then, because I'm Judy.
Yeah.
I think Sutton has.
I think everything that Camp has shown, like just judging from what's coming out of Denver, I think it's been very, very clear that Russell Wilson prefers Courtland Sutton. He looks for Courtland Sutton, and really, like coming out of camp, I think it's kind of clear Courtland Sutton's the better receiver.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Look, I don't think that's a bad pick in the
I
6th
don't
round.
think so either.
I really don't. I know he has this absolute stench around him, but we'll get there in a second. So,
Dominant offense, good offensive line.
after Lamar went Josh Jacobs and then Hollywood Brown, Allen Robinson at the 505, DK Metcalf, Jerry Jeudy. I took AJ Dillon at the 508. It's just, I mean,
I really like Amon-Ra St. Brown there too.
I do.
think
I
that's a good
I like
pick.
that pick Turnbull took
That's
as
a good
well.
pick.
I think, but
There's a lot of
with
targets though in Detroit now.
with the lack of clear options in Green Bay, I think AJ Dillon is going to be in for a really surprising season fantasy wise, and I think he's going to have a lot of scoring opportunity. He was already taking away goal line carries and some early down work from Aaron Jones last year, so I can't imagine that going away coming into this year. So I really like AJ Dillon, but Amon-Ra St. Brown. They do have more targets. I mean, TJ Hawkinson's going to be healthy. They brought in DJ Chark. Jamison Williams at some point is going to come back, but he's a rookie that's not going to play for the first several weeks. So I think just hearing how the coaching staff and how Goff himself has talked up Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then you can say what you want about the fact that this person and that person was out while Amon-Ra St. Brown was doing what he did at the end of last year. But at the end of the day, you still have to be a legit NFL talent to be able to do what he did at the end of the year.
Yep.
And
he's good.
And so I think Goff is
really
I
good.
think I don't hear what I'm not saying, but I think he's going to be the Cooper Kupp for Jared Goff.
Yeah.
At a just at a smaller level, but I think he's going to be that type of safety blanket that Kupp was for Goff. I think Amon-Ra is going to be the same. So I like that pick. I really do. After Amon-Ra went Dalton Schultz, Elijah Mitchell. That's just like, I don't know what to do with Elijah Mitchell. He's already somewhat banged up. He's expected to play week 1, but then at the same time, Shanahan never features the same running back in back-to-back years. So but then, like, if it's not Elijah Mitchell, is it going to be Trey Sermon? Is it going to be Tyron Davis-Price? Is it going to be Jeff Wilson, who was like the run? While Mitchell was out tonight, he was the guy out there with the ones.
Use check.
I just like it. Trying to draft a 49ers running back is starting to feel like what trying to draft a Patriots running back feels like.
Thank you.
Brandon Cooks and Joe Burrow at the 5-6 turn, then Amari Cooper, Kyler Murray, and then, as we talked about, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That I think in the 6th round is a fine pick. I know it sounds and probably feels gross, but I don't. I think Isaiah Pacheco could be okay, but I just don't see him like stepping in and taking over this backfield. And
no,
I think Clyde is
going to. It's going to be way more like it's going to be like it's going to be a split backfield for sure. But at this point, like in the draft, every backfield you're getting is going to be a split backfield.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, if you're not taking him, you're taking Miles Sanders, who, what's going to happen with him and Kenneth Gainwell. Then Jalen Hurts is going to steal some opportunities. You're going to take, you got Damian Harris, who he's going to have some touchdowns.
Chase Edmonds is down there.
Andre Stevenson. Yeah. Like, I'd rather have Chase Edmonds and Kareem Hunt over pretty much all these running backs right now. But the thing, you don't have to take those guys right now. So if you're going to take a running back in this range, I think Clyde is the guy to take at that point. So I don't think that's a bad pick. I'm going to do this just to kind of piss off Jay, and because this is where I would want to take him anyway, but it's going to feel good it's going to feel a little bit better to do it, just knowing that Jay's probably sitting there like, oh, I can't wait to draft this guy here in a few picks. So I'm going to take Lamar's wide receiver 1, Rashad Bateman, here at the 605. And then Michael Thomas went at the 606. And then, to Jared's point, less than a round later, there goes Jalen Hurts at the 607. I'm fine with either one of those. If you want to take Lamar at the early 5th, if you want to take Jalen Hurts in the middle of the 6th, I think especially in a 4-point league, I think both of those are just fine. I really do. And then Gabriel Davis, if I didn't take Rashad Bateman, Gabriel Davis would have been who I took here in the 6th round. So I like that. I like that pick by Jay. He might not even have been targeting Bateman. I just kind of assumed, Jay being a Ravens fan, he was. But I like that pick too. So then, Landon, you back on the clock. Let's go over to the rosters. Let's take a look at Landon's team here. All right, so he took Chris Godwin. So what's your thoughts on Godwin? When's he coming back?
Well, apparently he should be ready week 1. So
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
I don't know.
I
It's
don't
still
think
it's still so deep though that like the fact that I can get a top 20 wide receiver whenever he is out there in basically like the 7th round at this point, like, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, whenever he does come back, he's going to be great. And the reality, like he's your last flex. So like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
you'll be able
so
to throw
I've
him
got
on the bench and replace him with somebody. But so are you nervous at all about your running back 2 spot still being empty, or like you're pretty confident being able to fill that a little bit later?
Nah, yeah, I'll worry about it later.
I like that. I do. I like that.
I'll worry about it later.
Let's shift over here to Jared's team. So he's got Lamar, Eckler, Javonte.
Yeah, there's still like so for me, like there's still
Evans,
so much value. Like I am kind of glad I went tight end early because the tight ends, like after the first couple rounds, like I want nothing to do with. Yep. But like there's still so much value at quarterback. There's still so much value at running back, like for running back 2. Like because at this, like I said, if you're not getting one of like, I think really the cutoff here is like maybe. So like I don't like Brees Hall for redraft purposes. I think Dynasty League, but I think that's going to be more split this year.
I'm not buying the whole.
I'm not buying Michael Carter being the starter, but I just like I don't think
he's going to be a factor.
I think I think he'll be a factor, but I think
early on
that offense is going to be in scoring position a lot. I don't think they're going to score.
This one's tough.
And,
hold up. I got to throw this on the screen real quick. Evan Harrison, new here, guys. Question for y'all: should I be trading Brees Hall, maybe for Montgomery or a solid wide receiver? I already have Najee Harris, Saquon, Dillon, and Damian Pierce.
Sheesh. I wouldn't trade him for Montgomery. Like, so the question is this a dynasty league or is this a redraft league? Because if it's a dynasty,
I'm gonna assume it's redraft.
So
yeah, I think Evan, please jump back in the comments and let us know if we're wrong on assuming it's redraft. But I'm going to approach it assuming it's redraft. Yeah. And I don't know who your receivers are, but what I can tell you is between Najee, Saquon, AJ Dillon, Damian Pierce, even without Brees Hall, that's a really solid running back core.
Yeah.
12. Yeah. Okay, here we go. 12-man PPR.
12-man PPR
and redraft.
Okay.
So.
Awesome.
I don't know if I would flip him for Montgomery.
Yeah, I would rather have.
If you can get somebody that's running back needy that has a receiver that you really like,
or even a tight end, depending on who your tight ends are. I think if you could.
Okay, here we go. Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson. DJ Moore, Mike Evans. That's. I'll tell you.
That's a good team.
Yeah. So first of all, for 12-man PPR league, you've got a solid team.
Yeah.
What I'll tell you, my favorite way, and I'm not like both these guys know me to this point. They probably already know this, but my favorite way to try to make drafts or try to make trades in a redraft league, I want to try to pair Brees Hall with another asset and trade up. Like I want to make a 2-for-1 where I'm giving up the 2 for the 1, because in my
say you could do. I would reach out. So especially with like the news right now,
like
Tyron Smith is hurt. Everybody's freaking out about the Cowboys right now. I would try to take Brees Hall and maybe like Deontay, and I'd try to go get CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly how I think too. Because like it's a 2-for-1. But it's really not though, because
he's your fifth. He's your fifth guy.
Well, in making that 2-for-1 trade, you also open up a roster spot. So now you can go grab a guy that that went undrafted that you have high hopes for week 1, and you can stash him. And then if the guy like if Isaiah Pacheco or somebody like that is sitting on your waivers, where like you're gonna find out week 1 if they're really gonna be. Oh no! Okay, so we're gonna have to come up with something other than CeeDee Lamb because he's in a Cowboy lover league, so nobody's coming off CeeDee.
So first of all, I'm sorry. I feel sorry for you being in that league to begin with.
Let's see,
That's
but
that's gotta be
let's
rough.
let's look at some guys going off in the same range as CD.
CD
Like
Lamb.
Oh,
so, I mean,
Well,
like
AJ Brown would be a guy.
yeah,
Michael
yeah.
Pittman Jr. would be a guy I would try to target.
Yeah, and I don't even think you would have to give up. Like you wouldn't even have to do Brees Hall plus Deontay for Michael Pittman. I don't think, especially if a team's running back need. Like they're not even coming off a full round apart.
Mike Williams could be an option.
But that's so. I mean, I don't think you have to trade Brees Hall because, like,
No.
I'm not buying the whole. The whole like Brees Hall struggling, Michael Carter's the running back one. Like
No.
I do think Michael Carter will be involved.
Yeah, I think he'll be
In the
involved.
beginning.
My only question with Brees Hall is that offense going to be in scoring position a lot? And I don't think the answer is yes.
Probably not, but Brees Hall doesn't need them to be in scoring position to score, though. Like
yeah.
he's got breakaway ability on his own, so like he's going to get the volume, and even if they're not in the scoring position a lot, he'll put them in scoring position just with his ability.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, like he'll do that, a few times a year though. But like I want like consistent like production from that, and plus like. I mean, I don't know. Like, I wasn't a huge Brees Hall fan like coming out. I really didn't like any of these running backs, honestly, coming out.
I'm a big Brees Hall.
I mean, I think he's good. Like, I think he's a good player, but like this whole like, and like I know it ends up being something that happens every year. Yeah, you might, that. If he has like one or two like massive good weeks, like I think you could like sell extremely high. Like you would be able to get some like serious firepower. So like what is your tight end room looking like? That's what I'm curious. So, like you've got a damn good running back room, you got a damn good wide receiver room. What's like your tight end and quarterback situation?
So I do think Evan makes a good point here. He says my thing is with Hall, he's good value now, but I feel like he has his max value until maybe week 10 where he could take over the job. I don't think it takes him that long to take over, but to your point, I do like it. Typically, rookie running backs don't really fully take over until sometime in the second half of the year.
Yeah, even Jonathan Taylor, it took him 10 weeks.
Yeah, slow year with J.K. Dobbins, his rookie year, he really took over toward the end of the year. Like I do think Brees Hall could follow that mold, but and you have the roster build to where it seems like you can kind of afford to sit on Brees Hall and wait for him to take over. So I don't feel like you have to trade him, but if you can get us, like if you compare Brees Hall with player X and upgrade a position, rather it's like going to grab somebody like Diggs or something like that, or to Landon's point with the tight ends, if you are able to upgrade and go, trade Brees Hall plus somebody for Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, something like that. I think it could be worth it. But I like your team though, man. Just from what we know from the running backs and the receivers, I think he's got a good team. I really do.
Yeah, you got a good roster, man.
It took me like a half an hour to pick like in a not actual draft Darnell Mooney, because I just literally said don't draft any Bears players, and I'm like, oh yeah, well there's Darnell Mooney.
If you're gonna draft one though, I think so. Miles Sanders went off after Chris Godwin. Miles Sanders went off, and then Darnell Mooney, Adam Thielen, T.J. Hockenson at the turn, and then Elijah Moore. So you grabbed a couple of my favorite receivers, Elijah Moore being one of them. That like we're talking about the Jets. Elijah Moore, I don't care how bad the Jets offense is. That dude is a baller.
Yes.
And in the 7th round, I think that is such great value. I really do. I love that pick there. Damian Harris to 703, and then that brings Landon back on the clock.
Oh, well. Let's see here. So I'm saying, like, there's still value at quarterback, so I don't want to reach.
Look, Evan has Kelsey as well.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I want to
dude.
play in that league with that.
I
That's awesome, man.
I traded Elijah Moore and Penny for DJ Moore.
That's a good trade.
I love that. That's the type of trade
Yeah, that's perfect.
that I love to make. He had pick 12, and he was able to get David Pierce on waivers, which is that's, I mean, preseason isn't everything by any means, but David Pierce has looked really good. Even like tonight,
well, I just picked him in the 7th round, so
okay, so yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I got a starting running back in the 7th round. So
no, so I mean, Evan, basically, if you can make a package deal that makes sense, then go for it. But I don't think
you need to. Yeah, man, I think your team is just stacked. Like,
yeah,
you got a really
trade or no trade, you're in good shape, my friend.
Yeah. Plus, like, inevitably, like, I know it sucks to hear, but like, it's just the reality of it. Inevitably, somebody, whether it's a flex player, a running back, like somebody's going to get hurt. It happens every year. And so, like, to know like that you're like fully covered through any situation, like that's just like you should have peace of mind going into any situation this season. Like, you shouldn't have to worry at all about anything.
I'll tell you, I do not like Juju Smith-Schuster in the 7th round. I think people are a little high on him. I just don't. I don't
really like Juju there.
You like it?
I like Juju.
I don't know.
I
have a bad feeling about it.
I think Mahomes is gonna love Juju.
I think he will too. That middle of the field, man. Like, plus Juju, like, I don't know if you've seen him recently, but like, man, like, he's put on some muscle. Like, he's gonna be a yards after catch like monster. It's gonna be so hard to tackle that guy.
So yeah, Damian Pierce in the 7th round. So I mean, you're a believer, which I don't blame you. He's looked really good.
Which, I mean, like, I want to like obviously, like, I don't want this to be like my only thing, but like, so like when you're looking around here, so I'm looking at guys that are going around here: Miles Sanders, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Damian Harris, Kareem Hunt, Cordero Patterson. I think Damian Pierce is the only one of these guys that has a like 100% clear path to the workload.
To answer your question, Evan, is Dylan.
It is for me too. Just before. So I mean, well, I want to look at something real quick. So AJ Dillon has Minnesota week 1. And then Breece Hall. Does anybody know who the Jets play offhand? I can pull it up real quick.
Baltimore?
Is it Baltimore? Yeah. So yeah, I'm absolutely playing AJ Dillon over Breece Hall. Like, Breece Hall.
Spoiler alert: AJ Dillon needs to be playing in DFS for week 1.
Week 1, yeah,
absolutely. In those 2 weeks, Dalvin Cook will get hurt. It's inevitable. Do I play Madison over Hall or Dillon?
I wouldn't over Dillon.
Yeah, I'd probably still play Dillon, maybe over Hall, but I don't think I would over Dillon.
Yeah, I think pretty much like it's gonna be like, so the way they'll use AJ Dillon and Jesus Christ, who's the other running back for Green Bay? Aaron Jones. Yes. Look, it's late. I've been at work. Like, I didn't think it's late. Jeez, I've been getting my ass kicked this week. It's gonna be very similar to like Kamara and Mark Ingram were used in New Orleans, where like they're just going to like they're both gonna eat like in every situation. So like I don't think you can go wrong with either guy. You're gonna get running back 1 upside, I think, on a weekly basis with either guy. Like, now I'm not saying they're going to both finish in the top 12 or they're both going to be running back 1 since season long, but I think you get that upside with either one of those guys.
They have a great quarterback and a great offensive line as well, with a great defense. So all 3 of those things equal a lot.
Well, what's great too about AJ Dillon is like they should be in enough positive game scripts this year
more often
that there's a good chance like he gets they'll use Aaron Jones a lot, to get the lead in the first half. And once they've got that lead in the second half, AJ Dillon's just gonna churn out yards.
I agree. So after Juju went Kareem Hunt, Cordell Patterson, and then I took Chase Edmonds at the 708.
I love
and
it. Love it.
I know you'd be a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fan where he's going right now. I think he's a great value.
I think
I
he's
really
the same
hope
choice.
Harris prevails no matter the quarterback in the situation. Yeah, I think Najee's going to be like, I don't like Najee going early in the first, but with you picking 12 in I getting him at the 112, I think is great. So like
Kamara
I
should
don't I
play
don't
this
I don't
year.
think I don't think you have anything to worry about with Harris. As far as any news on Kamara, I haven't seen anything.
From everything I've heard,
updated.
it'll be next year. Like
Yeah,
he should be
that's all
safe.
signs are pointing towards next year.
It seems like the only thing that would keep it from being next year, I think, is if a video gets leaked. Like if a
There's
video
supposedly a video.
if the video of the fight gets leaked, that'll probably force the NFL's hand. But if a video doesn't get leaked, they're just gonna probably wait for the court proceedings to play out, and that's just gonna drag to where I don't think we have to worry about Kamara getting suspended for this year. That's how I've been approaching him in drafts, assuming he plays a full season. I haven't been like I have no problem taking him in the early second round, mid-second round if you're in a position to do so. But I haven't seen anything really saying one way or the other. But there's a really good. Let me find the guy's name. There's a really good guy on Twitter that I want to shout out. That is great with this stuff. I think his name. Yeah, so if you're on Twitter, go follow at Drew Davenport FF. He's on the Football Guy staff, and he's got he's a criminal defense attorney. Like he was a criminal defense attorney for 20 plus years, so he's a pretty much an expert on these matters. And everything he said up to this point is that he would expect that Kamara is safe for this season unless the video gets leaked. So I'm trusting that personally, and
Dawson Knox.
Also, big shout out, Evan, for that Itachi profile picture. That's dope. Naruto is my shit, so I like.
And
I
you
like
still
that.
won't come play
Itachi
Fortnite,
Uchiha.
man. Fortnite had a Naruto collab too. And I'm pretty sure he's got I'm pretty sure he's got a skin. Oh man, you got to come on, man. Like you can't even use building as an excuse anymore. They got a no build mode. You can't it's impossible to build. You just shoot people.
It's too kiddie. Like
you can't tell me that whenever you was playing that. There was some kiddie game you was playing not too long ago, man.
What?
I can't remember what it was. It was like some Crash Bandicoot type shit. Whenever
we don't talk about it.
I love Crash Bandicoot. I'm just saying.
It might have been Kino Bridge of Spirits.
I don't even remember, but
that game was hard.
Yeah, see, look, Evan knows what's up. I've got the Yeah, Evan knows what's up. Yeah, Evan, you're already my favorite person.
Fortnite, bro.
Already my favorite person in here. All right, so after Chase Edmonds, Turnbull took Drake London, Devontae Smith, Ken Walker, Tony Pollard, Dallas Goedert at the turn, Hunter Info, Brandon Ayuk, and Dawson Knox. So that puts me on the clock at the 8:05. And man, look at the quarterbacks on here. This is another. I
told you, dude.
I know, and this is another point in favor of waiting. And I've got to tell you, at this point, just like I'm already working on bench spots. Why would I not want to just stash one of the best receivers in football and let him take over for me in the second half of the year? So I'm going to throw DeAndre Hopkins on my bench, let him sit out his 6 games. And I don't expect him to be like the top 5 wide receiver he was, with Hollywood there. But he's still even with the advanced metrics going down, he's still one of the best receivers in football. And I still expect him to be like a low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 upon his return. So, yeah, give me Hopkins in the 8th round all day. Brady at the 8:06, Rashad Penny, I love you at the 8:07, Russell Wilson at the 8:08, and brings Landon back on the clock.
Yeah. So now, like you said, like I'm just gonna start stacking bench spots. Just looking here at some guys. I know this is a position that is dried up pretty hard already, and this is like the last one that I would really feel comfortable starting. So I'm gonna take Zach Ertz here.
Oh yeah, Zach Ertz in the eighth, and back of the eighth is great value, especially whenever with Hopkins being out those first few weeks. Like Ertz got traded to Arizona mid-season and instantly made an impact. So like he got a whole offseason to prep with the team. I think Ertz is gonna be really solid.
You know what, man? It's not sexy at all. It's a good offense, and he peaked last year towards the end of the season. So let's go Devin Singletary.
I think that's great at the back of the eighth round, man. I mean, all their usage in the preseason screams that he's going to be the starter at the beginning of the year. I mean, depending on how you feel about James Cook, if he does or doesn't take over, I don't know. But you have potentially the starting running back for arguably the best offense in football in the eighth round.
He doesn't catch passes is the only knock, but at the end of the day, I mean, he's a starter in the eighth round, like you said. So I'm cool. I would be totally fine with that.
Yeah. No, I'm not mad at that at all. And Evan, if you're still here, man, shout out to you. Appreciate you hanging out with us, throwing some questions out. That's appreciated, man. Hopefully we've been somewhat helpful, and hopefully you've enjoyed what you heard up to this point. Landon, what's your thoughts on Singletary?
Not a fan.
No?
Nah, so, I've never been a big Singletary guy. I don't. I think there's a reason they took James Cook where they took him.
Yeah.
You might not like the player in James Cook, but they invested a damn high draft capital in a guy like that.
Yeah.
And he's looked like the better running back in preseason to begin with. Like he's already looked better than Singletary has. So
I think I said about Zach Moss too.
I think Singletary.
They're two very different players.
Not
even remotely the same. Plus Zach Moss.
Everyone said Zach Moss.
Yeah, well, Zach Moss was also when was he like a 5th or 6th round running back?
I don't know. Singletary looked fine to me in the one drive he got with the starters in their last preseason game. I thought Singletary looked fine.
He had a good push at the end of last year too.
He was great at the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but see this. So here's something though that James Cook also does. Like one, I think he's looked better running the ball.
He's definitely a better pass catcher. I don't know.
Yeah, that Devin Singletary doesn't. And there's touchdowns and there's targets in that offense, and I think he's got a clearer path to success than Singletary. I mean, I think either way, like you're kind of splitting hairs with them because they're both gonna, I think, end up in like very similar spots at the end of the season. So I don't hate the pick, especially in the back of the 8th round. I mean,
I'm not starting him over any of the guys running back anyway.
Yeah, I've just never been a big Devin Singletary guy, so I've never cared about rostering him. Especially with guys like Melvin Gordon, Ramondre Stevenson. Like those guys are still on the board. I would rather have those guys.
Yeah, there's some really good late round running backs this year.
I'll never draft a New England Patriots running back. I don't care who it is. It can literally, if they had Jonathan Taylor, I would avoid at all costs. I just don't trust anything that's in the backfield in New England.
Well, you're still on the clock, so.
Oh shit, I forgot.
Yeah, this is going a lot longer than what I thought it was going to go.
We'll start making it a little bit quicker here. So I'll just take. How's this sound right here? Well, just in case he completely wins out based off talent, I'll take James Cook.
There you go. Yeah,
see, that's a good idea. So you start with the backfield. Yep. So whoever you have, you're good to go.
I don't hate that, honestly. I really don't. Christian Kirk, I don't hate that either. All right, come on. Okay, so my plan here is to double tap the 2 onesies positions on two of my favorite breakout players this year. And if you've listened to me at all over the last 2 years, this one's not going to be surprising at all. So I'm going to take I'm going to take Trey Lance here in the 9th round, which typically I'm taking him in the 8th just to try to make sure I don't miss out. But I just didn't want to skip out on Hopkins. So I'm going to take Trey Lance here in the 9th, and then hope that my favorite tight end breakout makes it back to me in the 10th. So we'll see if this plays out the way that I hoped. And if it does, then I will be extremely happy. So after Trey Lance went Robert Woods, which I think in the 9th round is great value. Matthew Stafford, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, and Pat Freiermuth on the turn. Chase Claypool, Ramondre Stevenson, and then MVS, and that leaves me with my other favorite breakout at the tight end position, who is indeed Cole Kmet, that I think is a lock for 100+ targets this year. And I just the man has basically no touchdowns whatsoever at this point. I don't see any way that continues. So he has positive touchdown regression. Let's see, Zach Whitaker, stock down on Singletary, Gordon on him. So Whitaker, you would take Melvin Gordon over Singletary? Because that's an interesting debate at this point. Because the perceived running back 2 for the Broncos or the perceived running back 1 for the Bills, but the Broncos are probably going to run the ball more than the Bills are.
Yeah, I'd rather have Gordon.
That's a very interesting debate. I think I'd probably take Singletary over Gordon, man. But just off of the pure bet of just betting on just betting on Javonte kind of taking a bigger role in the Broncos offense than last year. I don't see it being a 50-50 split. And then for Jared's team specifically, he already has Javonte, so I understand him wanting to get pieces of other offenses instead of just taking Melvin Gordon. But I think those guys are both Singletary, Melvin Gordon, right there. I don't really mind that either way. Thoughts on Mike Davis week 1 pass.
Pass.
I don't. Who's Baltimore plays the Jets week 1, right?
Pass.
Jared.
Don't get me started on Mike Davis.
I mean, Gus Edwards is on the pup. He's not playing for at least the first 4 weeks.
No, and I don't think
J.K. Dobbins. I don't think is going to get.
J.K. Dobbins is going to.
He's not going to get a huge load his first. I think Dobbins will be active, but he's not going to get a huge load his first week coming off injury.
But it's still, man, they have so many running backs, though. It's still going to be split. They'll split it between.
But I mean, it's him, Dobbins, and then the rookie Tyler Batty out of Missouri.
Yeah, and then there's somebody else there too. I can't remember who's there.
How do you guys feel about
nobody of relevance though?
How do you guys feel about Njoku in the 9th round?
I think he's the second best option in that passing attack. So, and I think for Brissett, he might be his favorite option.
Yeah.
And they just made him a.
I don't
paid.
I mean, he would be a really good option for the playoffs.
I had no tight end up until that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to start him on a weekly basis.
Well, if I'm grabbing Njoku this late, I typically don't like to draft 2 tight ends. But if I'm grabbing Njoku at this point, I'll double up on tight end and I'll grab another guy, another.
So I like Albert O. Albert O's still there.
I mean,
I'm not big on Albert.
I would rather take the tight end that Russell Wilson's throwing to than the tight end that Jacoby Brissett is throwing to.
I don't know about that. I just feel like there's too many targets to go around in Denver.
Yeah, but I don't. As a Colts fan, man, I've watched too much Jacoby Brissett to.
I'm fine with Njoku in the 10th round. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind him, especially. I mean, there's other guys you could get here too, like Irv Smith is still there. I think that would be a good option to pivot to.
But I mean, Evan, to answer your question, man, it all depends on who. If you're talking about DFS or just you were talking about starting him in a certain league, it really just depends on who who you're looking at there, but like I think Mike Davis could be a startable option week 1, just depending on what
I
your other
think you leave it blank before you play Mike Davis.
Jared hates Mike
No.
Davis confirmed.
No.
Zach said, me personally, for sure, for Gordon, I see it more of a split backfield again for Denver and saving Williams' legs while they got Gordon for this last year. Yeah, I mean,
I don't think. I mean, like I think
Uh,
I think it'll be a lot more like 65-35 than it's going to be like 50-50. Because even Melvin Gordon came out like a few weeks ago and he even said like
well,
they want him to be the guy.
Yeah, that was the headline. But then if you read the rest of the quote, it was like they wanted to be the guy, but they give him a drive, then they give me a drive, and then they give
Right.
it still sounded very split. So
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot more like 60-65 to like as opposed to like 50-50 or somewhere like that.
And then so Zach throws in one of my favorite tight end sleepers, like late round tight ends here. Like this is another, like if I'm taking Njoku, this is a guy I'd double up with right here. He's definitely the tight end one for the Chargers. High pass volume offense.
I mean, Jared Cook looked really good last year too.
Yeah. If they can make Jared Cook look good at his age, Gerald Everett, I love that. Let's be honest, is Swift really going to be better than Kamara, Chubb, Mixon, or Connor?
He has a chance.
I think Swift is, yeah.
Kamara and
maybe Kamara
and Mixon, I think, are interesting. I think he's definitely better than Chubb or Connor. But I mean, if Kamara gets the full workload, it's going to be tough. And then Mixon, Mixon hasn't really been used as a 3-down back under Zach Taylor, but with the improved offensive line, that offense is going to be in scoring opportunities a ton. It's interesting. Like I'm not as high as most on Mixon this year, but even at that point, I'm kind of like, it's worth asking. I mean, but yeah, I like him more than Chubb just because Chubb doesn't have the passing upside or the pass catching upside that Swift has, and Connor. I mean, he's in a high-powered offense, and he had a lot of touchdowns last year. But James Conner just makes me nervous personally.
The thing about Swift,
that kind of touchdown regression is kind of
it's going to happen. The thing about Swift is that offensive line is really good, and he's almost game script proof. Like they're going to use him if they're trailing by 14. They're going to use him if it's a close game. Like his upside is tremendous for this season.
So, and this is a fair point. I think Jamal Williams will still more snaps than maybe whoever's going to play under Mixon. Jamal Williams is definitely going to be involved, but for whatever reason, Zach Taylor refused to use Joe Mixon in passing down. Like even in the biggest game of the year, in the fucking Super Bowl, Samaje Perine was in the game in obvious pass catching downs, and it's like, why? Joe Mixon is the better player. Why do you not have him on the field? And maybe that changes this year. I mean, the offensive line is incredibly improved compared to last year, but I don't know. It's tough. But so I was able to double tap a couple of my favorite late round running backs here in Rashad White, Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah, I was hoping Gainwell was going to fall back to me. I had him queued up.
I love those guys late, but you grab Brian Robinson, who's another late round running back that obviously a lot of people are excited about, and then Jared got Jahan Dotson, who's he seems like the first round rookie receiver that's just forgotten about, and I know we hate Carson Wentz on this show because you guys are Colts fans that are.
But it's not bad. It's just
Jahan Dotson is a really, really good football player.
There's a lot of report that him and Carson Wentz are clicking too.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter because Terry
fucking P. Right? Have you not seen his beard? No wonder he's getting work. So
he's got a nice beard, man.
Fair argument. I
think. Yeah, I mean, like. Yeah, they can click all they want. It's Terry McLaurin's on that team, so that's all that matters.
I don't know about that.
You're not wrong, but like, still, like, it's a.
Heineke. If Heineke was a quarterback, then yeah, he
would. But that doesn't. What do you mean? If Heineke was the quarterback, then yeah,
because he already
tunnel vision on Terry McLaurin.
Have you never watched Carson Wentz play football before?
He could easily end up with tunnel vision.
You want to talk about tunnel vision? Like the guy doesn't even throw to wide receivers to begin with. He has tunnel vision for tight ends, and then the one year he had a receiver, he had tunnel vision for Michael.
Newsflash: Washington doesn't have a tight end. Like
Logan Thomas is not a tight end.
Logan Thomas.
He's just he's a guy that's also
he's a guy. Man, he's old. He's beat up.
He's old and he's coming.
They have Terry McLaurin, which was my original point.
Terry McLaurin,
McLaurin's a great player, man.
Which is why McLaurin's going in like the 4th, 5th round.
Look, man, if you think a rookie wide receiver is going to come out in that,
I agree, Zach.
I'm just telling you. I'm telling you, man. Like I'm telling you how it's going to go. You're talking about one of the least accurate quarterbacks in the NFL.
You're talking about
a rookie wide receiver.
A rookie wide receiver that was drafted with like a top 15 pick that's going in the 12th round. 12th round. That is well worth the shot.
I'm not in redraft to me. I'm staying away from Washington in redraft as far as like the wide receivers outside of McLaurin. And even then, like I'm probably going to stay away from McLaurin just from where he's going. Like, I mean, in the 4th,
I would rather take a shot at Jahan Dotson than draft Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. I don't want McLaurin where I'm going to have to get him.
Like you could take Cortland Sutton, Hollywood Brown, Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
Allen
Allen Robinson might be where I kind of draw the line.
I'm taking Allen Robinson over Terry McLaurin.
Well, of course, you're going to take the Rams wide receiver.
Yes, I'm going to take the receiver in the productive offense over the receiver in the non-productive offense. Absolutely, all day.
Drew, do you like my Darrell Henderson split backfield, all injured running back, Rams back?
You need a productive offense. Terry McLaurin is head and shoulders a better wide receiver than Allen Robinson is. Come on, stop. You do not think Allen Robinson is a better wide receiver than Terry McLaurin? Like, I know he plays for the Rams, but, like, come on.
It has nothing to do with the Rams. I know, like, it's easy to play that whole card, but, like, what's Terry McLaurin's best fantasy finish at this point in his career? Up to this point, him and Allen Robinson have both.
I'm not talking about fantasy. I'm talking about
that is absolutely what we're talking about. This is
I'm talking about real life. I'm talking about he's not a better wide receiver.
Real life's over, Landon. It's fantasy season now.
We are in the middle of a fantasy football mock draft, Landon.
He's not a better receiver.
Jesus Christ. All right, well, you tell me what Terry McLaurin's best.
I'm on the clock. I'm sorry. I'm just.
You tell me what Terry McLaurin's best fantasy finish is up to this point, and then go look at Allen Robinson, both of which would play with terrible quarterbacks at this point in their career. You let me know which one's been a better fantasy asset. And then you let me know which one's been a better offense this year.
Well, I'm going to say definitely Allen Robinson's in a better offense with a better quarterback. I'm not going to debate that at all.
Which one's been a better fantasy asset through their career?
Well, I think Allen Robinson has had better highs, yeah. Like, he's obviously finished higher.
He's had one low last year.
He's had more than one low.
I mean, if you want to include injuries, but seasons
you have to include injuries. That's part of it.
Yeah, if you want to try to predict that, be my guest. But if you want to talk about seasons where they've both been healthy, Allen Robinson has been more productive, and he's now in a better offense.
This is where I start throwing darts.
Has Terry McLaurin ever been a wide receiver one?
He is not, which is why I'm not picking him in the top 5 rounds.
And has Allen Robinson ever been a wide receiver one?
Yes, in Jacksonville. Yes, the answer is in Jacksonville.
Which is just another point for Allen Robinson. He did it in fucking Jacksonville. With Blake Bortles. The man was a wide receiver one with Blake Bortles, and you want to talk about who's the better receiver.
Okay. You're not going to try to get me on Allen Robinson, because I was in on Allen Robinson coming out of the draft.
I'm not getting you on Allen Robinson. You're getting yourself on Allen Robinson. I didn't do this.
I'm not. I just think in 2022, Terry McLaurin I think, is a clearly better wide receiver. He's not in
Yeah.
a better offense. He's not in a better, and it might be for fantasy purposes if that's what you're talking about. Then
Yeah,
yeah.
you know, whenever
I
we're
think they're
doing a
very.
fantasy football mock
I think
draft,
they're
I
very
think we're talking
similar.
about fantasy.
No,
Yeah.
Leia, look. When I say this guy's better than this guy, I'm not talking about fantasy football. I'm talking about like on the field, like this year. Y'all are the fantasy DFS people. I'm much more concerned with what happens in real life.
I mean, and whenever we're talking about real life, I am. Whenever we're doing a fantasy football mock draft, I'm not.
Oh, we're in the 13th round.
I'm just throwing darts. I'm going Watson.
Yeah, I think it's the Watson stuff has gone too far, man. I mean, it's
Maybe
wild.
not in redraft. I don't think he's going to be much of
There's
an
plenty
asset
of people willing to draft Romeo Dubs.
No thanks.
Romeo
Yeah.
Dobbs, I guess.
Yeah, but I think he has a clear path this year, like for 2022.
Why? Why is his path so much more clear? Because he's had more.
Because
preseason hype?
because he's been better.
You know who led the NFL in preseason receptions last year?
I'm not talking about preseason games. I'm talking about overall in camp. He's been a better wide receiver.
He's had more preseason hype, yeah. If you look, like, just go look back at the list of people with preseason hype over the last few years. Like Tutu Atwell led the NFL
Like
in
Terry
preseason
McLaurin?
receptions last year.
Like Darren Waller, those like preseason hype guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Let your idiot league makes draft tops.
Yeah, I'm not picking them this late, or I'm not picking a Green
Only
Bay
one
wide receiver.
injury in fantasy is predictable. CMC, stay away from the broken one. He's too dynamic when he's healthy for me to stay away from him.
Yeah, I can't ever quit CMC.
I'm on board with that one. I can't quit CMC either.
I don't want Watson or Dobbs in redraft this year. I'm staying away.
One of those
I'm
guys.
staying away from
Somebody's got to produce in that offense. And hey, look, I'd rather throw a dart at.
Yeah, Alan Lazard in the running
Yeah,
backs.
no, I would rather throw a dart at
Alan
Watson
Lazard.
and Alan Lazard. That's just me.
Yeah.
Alan Lazard's draft capital is way too high for my.
I'm good. I'm good on Alan Lazard.
Is Alan Lazard even gone yet?
Yeah, he went
Yeah.
6th or 7th round.
Oh God, no.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Jesus.
no thanks.
No way. Yeah, I'm staying
Count
away
me
from
out
that.
on that.
No, but I think for 2022, I think for redraft purposes, I do think Dobbs holds more value than Christian Watson this year. I think long term, I think it's clearly Watson's that has more long term value.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't want a part of either one of them in redrafts. Like I'm good on that.
Oh, I got to draft a defense.
Like there's so many other guys that I would rather take a shot on. Like if I'm taking a wide receiver like that, like Dobbs or Watson or something, like somebody like Jalen Tolbert is somebody I would rather target than both of those guys.
Ooh. The Denver Broncos play Seattle and Houston the first 2 weeks of the year. So sign me up.
Do I have to draft a defense?
I mean, technically, I don't guess you do. You could.
Well, yeah, we get the Texans and the Jaguars, so sure.
Here you go, Landon. Here's one for you. What about Pierce on the Colts? Just hype?
I don't know if I would do it for fantasy football. I think he's going to have more real life value than he has fantasy football value. But he's another guy. I think he's got a clear path to targets. Like he's very clearly the number 2 guy on that offense. Now, how much they're going to throw, that's the question. Like, it'll probably be a lot more balanced. So they were like 30th last year, and I expect them to be a lot closer to like 15 or 16 this year. So they're not going to have like, a ton of targets, but they'll have a lot more. But I think Pierce is probably a rookie. Like he was plus 2,000 for rookie of the year, and I threw like $25 down on him a couple days ago. Just because, like, out of majority of the rookies, he's the one I can see that has a clear path to targets because, like, who else do they have? Like, well, you got Michael Pittman, who's going to catch 200 footballs this year. But then you have Paris Campbell, who can't stay on the field. And then after that, you have Desmond Patman, Michael Strawn, a bunch of 5th, 6th round guys. And, you know, I mean, you have Nyheim Hines. I think there's a better chance that Hines is second in targets on that team than any of the wide receivers. But, yeah, I mean, I like Pierce for real life. I think he's going to play a big role in real life. I wouldn't want him in a redraft league now. I would want him in a dynasty league. I would definitely take him in a dynasty league.
I love his next point, obviously, as a Kentucky fan.
Yeah,
I like Robinson from the Giants. He's already got the slot role locked up. Brian Daboll came over. It was really his first, like, pass catching pick that he made. You know, they drafted offensive line, defensive line with their first round picks, but I mean, early second round over George Pickens, over some other receivers that were predicted to go before Wan'Dale. You know, that Brian Daboll handpicked Wan'Dale Robinson. He's already got the slot receiver role locked up, so I do think he's interesting.
Jeez. Dude, there's still so many people on waiver wires.
Oh yeah,
Dude, I almost forget what it's like to do redraft leagues where we don't have these massive benches because
we don't have 25 roster spots like dynasty leagues. Yeah.
Just looking over my rot, man. This team, I'd be very happy with this in the draft. This team,
Evan, man, if you're still here with us, we appreciate you hanging out with us. And being so interactive. If you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, we greatly appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind doing so, it really helps us out. And then Zach is still coming in here with the comments as well. I feel like Jelani Woods will pass Mo Alley and have a nice target share in Indy.
Hot take. I don't hate it.
I don't. Just because I think he's still going to be the third tight end no matter what. Mo Alley Cox is going to be on the field more just because he's a better run blocker and they're going to run the ball. I mean, he could still catch passes, but if you want the Indy tight end that for pass catching, then you want Kylan Granson. You don't want Jelani Woods. You want Kylan Granson. That's their move tight end. They line him up in the slot. They motion him out wide. He was a pick last year, I think 4th round pick last year. He's going into his second season. That's the guy that's going to catch the passes at tight end. Now Jelani Woods he'll have use in the red zone, but I think they're going to bring him along slowly. I don't think he's going to jump Mo Alley Cox in the depth chart at all. That's asking too much. I think Woods is very clearly third. And I think you have Mo Alley Cox at 1, who's going to be the run blocker, red zone threat kind of a guy. But if you want the guy that's catching passes, you want Kylan Granson.
All right, Landon, the mock draft's done, man. Bring us home.
Yep. So if you joined us for an hour and a half here, especially for all the comments, Zach, Evan, thank you guys so much for joining us here.
Yeah.
And that's always fun when we can get some people in here to talk some stuff with us and go through all this. This is a really fun draft. I'm excited for my team not to look like this at all when we actually draft, even though I don't hate the way my team ended up, but probably not going to have any of these guys. It's pretty exciting just to go run through these, just talk football. I know these guys like to talk fantasy. I just want to talk ball. I want to talk football. But it's still fun to do all these mock drafts and everything. So thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're on Twitter, if you're on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're on Twitter, go ahead and like the Twitter handle at 3Man Rush Podcast. And you can find all three of us on there as well. Yeah, all of our Twitter handles are right here in the video right now while we're watching it. So go give us a follow here. And it's been a pleasure doing this. And we will be back next week as we kind of prepare for the season.
Hey, but don't forget this actual draft for this league.
It's Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday night. We're going to be going live all over again, like for the actual draft.
Yeah, so this one's going to be for like keeps though.
Yeah, like it's an actual real draft, not a mock draft. It's the real draft. Hopefully we'll have some other people in the league, joining us on the broadcast. So, you know, but yeah, Evan, dude,
My guy.
appreciate you. We're going to be going live a lot during the season, a whole lot of fantasy content coming. So definitely, come kick it with us, man. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir. All right, fellas. Well, thank you guys so much. And we will see you Saturday night for the actual draft.